In this video, I'll take you through my editing process, from finding inspirations, designing, to editing, motion graphics, and sound design. Showing you my techniques for giving my videos that graphic design look, as well as tricks I've learned throughout my years of editing. Starting with my most important step, inspiration. My inspiration shapes how my videos look. I get ideas from books, packaging, branding, website, typography, animation, IKEA instruction manuals, pretty much all things graphic design. It's both my work and passion. When I started making YouTube videos, I didn't know how to edit, but what I did know was how to make nice looking slides, which pretty much sums up my editing style. My videos are just glorified presentation slides, where the design and message comes first, and all that motion comes later. The good thing about this is how the editing is mostly just simple transitions, which we'll go over in a bit. But after gathering my inspirations, I then turn it into my own design. My design process starts after recording footages, and after that, I write the scripts and brainstorm concepts for the video. And this is where the inspiration from earlier comes into play. I often browse Behance and Pinterest for design inspirations, and I use Musical.ly for websites and layout inspirations. From there, I would steal, borrow, get inspired by elements that I like, and start testing them in my videos. I often make videos about illustration, so I try to keep my design simple to enhance those illustrations rather than distract from it. So that was the overview of my design process. But to dive a little deeper, I want to introduce 3 elements that I often use. Elements that can instantly give your videos that graphic design look. First is what I would call picture frames. I like to put pictures and videos inside of a simple frame overlay. It's not necessary at all, but when the frame is designed to fit the theme of your video, it can help make every element feel more unified. In case you want to use the frames I've made, I'll leave a link to them below. The next element is header and footer. I like to put these texts that remains in the same place throughout my videos. It's subtle and doesn't scream for attention, but the reason I use this is because I feel like most people skip around YouTube videos, so I wanted an indicator to let you know what you're looking at, just like in books or presentation slides. And the real reason is it's super pretty. Last but definitely not least, typography. Here's an example of type combinations I've used in the past. Often, I only use 2 fonts per video, typically one with personality for impact, and one that's simple and readable for the rest. I also like to double or triple the size of text to create that extra contrast. If you want font pairing ideas, Behance and Pinterest are my go-to. As for where I get them, I mostly use fonts from Adobe Fonts, and some from foundries and designers I like. But you can be smarter with your money and use Google Fonts or free font websites. And those are my 3 most commonly used elements. I do this in Illustrator, but you can do this in any art design software. Because all I really do is export these elements as PNG, and then drag and drop them into Premiere. The editing is where the design starts to come alive. After looking back at a bunch of my videos, there's really only one technique that I use: transitions. Different types of transitions like slide in, slide out, slide in and appear, slide out and disappear, scrolling vertically, and scrolling horizontally. I do this by easing in the last keyframe, then easing out the first keyframe. This creates a movement where the image speeds up in the middle, and then adjust this curve to play around with the speed. Apart from easing the keyframes, I also like to use the blur effects to add some spice to the transitions. Other than that, I often use basic 3D effects to add life into static shots, as well as lens distortion for that fisheye lens effect. There's a lot of great default effects out there, so I like to try random stuff and see what happens. With this knowledge, you can pretty much replicate all of my videos. For example, this intro from Mika Picasso video was just an overlay element sliding in, then the illustration slides into frame one at a time. Here's some example of how I use the 3D effect to make static images more interesting. and also the lens distortion effects. And here's some more example of transitions. You get the idea. As you can see, I tend to focus more on design rather than editing. Editing, which is usually just transitions, is my way of making those designs move in a fun and engaging way. But if I'm feeling extra fancy, then this is also where I would add the motion graphics. Things like title sequence, text animations, and random animations. You can literally follow the same tutorials I followed to learn most of these, so I think there's no point of me going through this step by step. So anyways, here's the step-by-step of my After Effects workflow. First, I bring the graphics that I designed into After Effects. I use Overlord plugin to help speed up the process. Then, depending on the type of animation, I would play around with things like position, scale, random effects, textures, or plugins. It really depends on the theme of the video or what fun effects I want to try. Then once the animation is done, I just drag and drop the files into Premiere. This was my typical After Effects workflow. If you want to learn more, just check out Ben Marriott or Jake in Motion. These two channels were how I started to learn After Effects. Also, my mindset is that each video is an opportunity to try something new. New tutorial, new effects, new plugins. And I think that's a good way to learn After Effects or any creative skill. Just trying one new thing per project. But make sure not to go overboard with the motion graphics. I think in some videos I went too hard and that took away from the message, whereas my earlier videos with less motion graphics seems to actually communicate my points better. I'm still struggling to find that balance, but it's good to remind myself time and time again that less is more. Okay, why is this so emotional? Let's change things up. When it comes to music, I try to find ones that fits the flow and narrative of the video. Then add that to the timeline, lower the volume, and that's it. I typically add music quite early in the editing, since I like to sync the visuals. I use free music from YouTube Audio Library. Then from here, I changed to Epidemic Sounds. The only reason I changed was because of this one feature called Stem. It lets you separate the music into its parts, like drums, bass, instruments, and melody. Here's some example of how I use Stem in my previous videos. And let's compare it to the non-Stem version. And again, Stem. Versus full mix. It's quite subtle, but I use stems to smoothen out audio transitions and remove any distracting instruments to allow the viewers to focus better on the visuals and voiceover. This is my secret sauce to music. It honestly blew my mind when I first learned about this. If you want to try, you can use my link below for a free trial. Now that all the music is in place, all that's left is sound effects. I mainly use 5 types of sound effects. Slides for visual sliding in and out. Camera sound effects for visuals appearing. Quiet clicks for smaller visuals. Whooshes for big transitions. And riser to give subtle tension in some parts of the video. I think the magic really happens when you layer them together. I got most of my sound effects from Daruma Audio and Epidemic Sounds. I feel like it's hard to find free sound effects libraries, So I thought it'd be cool to record my own sound effects and share it. Turns out it's much harder than I expected, but if you want, you can download them below. It's the sound effects you've been hearing throughout this video, but honestly the quality is not that great. And yeah, that was basically how I edit my videos. As for me, I learned 3 things. First, I think I fell off. My videos used to be much better. Second, less is more. The design should enhance the message, not distract from it. And last, but probably most important, I feel like editing should be you expressing your own interests. I hope that this video helped introduce my editing style, but above all, I want this to help you improve your own style of editing. Thank you for all the suggestions. If I skipped over something or you want a deeper dive, just let me know below. And as always, thanks for watching.